Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're diving into the world of supply chain integration.
Supply chain integration.
Yeah. All about making those operations smooth, keeping those costs down,
Right.
and really boosting that customer satisfaction. You sent me some seriously interesting stuff for this one.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it.
No.
Okay, so first things first. What exactly is supply chain integration?
So it's all about making sure there's a seamless flow
Okay.
of goods and information from your suppliers all the way through your business and then ultimately out to those customers.
Uh-huh.
Think of it like a really well choreographed dance
Okay.
where everybody just knows exactly what steps they're supposed to be doing.
So not just like moving stuff around.
Yeah.
But making sure that everybody involved is like
Yeah.
working together
Yeah.
smoothly, efficiently, all that good stuff.
Exactly. And this Procure for marketing article you sent over really hits on the point that this
Yeah.
is absolutely critical. I mean, businesses need to be agile and efficient and sustainable these days if they want to really thrive. And
Right.
that's where a really well-integrated supply chain comes in.
That makes total sense. And, the article lays out some key strategies to actually achieve that kind of integration.
Right.
And one that really stood out to me was this collaborative
Yeah.
planning and forecasting. It sounds like it's a lot more than just like sharing spreadsheets around.
It definitely is. Like, imagine your suppliers and your manufacturers
Yeah.
and even your customers all working together to try to predict what that demand is going to be.
Whoa.
It's like having a crystal ball for your business.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can kind of adjust production proactively and look at your resources.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
No more like scrambling to meet this like unexpected demand or just dealing with piles of excess inventory.
Exactly.
Now, the article also mentions a bunch of technology solutions, and it throws out a bunch of acronyms: ERP, TMS, WMS, CRM.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of overwhelming.
It can be a lot. So let's just break those down a little bit.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Think of all of those different systems, like the central nervous system of your supply chain.
Okay.
So like ERP, that stands for Enterprise Resource Planning.
Okay.
And that basically takes all of your core business processes, your finances, your inventory, all of that,
Yeah.
and puts it all together into one system. So then everybody has a real-time view. You can share that data.
Gotcha.
And you see what's happening across your whole operation.
Okay.
Then you've got TMS, or Transportation Management System, and that one's all about optimizing logistics,
Logistics.
making sure that your goods are moving efficiently
Right.
in a cost-effective way.
Uh,
Then you've got WMS, Warehouse Management System.
okay.
That one zooms in on everything that's happening inside your warehouse. So like receiving goods, managing inventory, fulfilling orders, all that stuff.
Okay.
And then finally you have CRM, Customer Relationship Management.
CRM.
This one helps you understand your customer better. So you can see their preferences, their buying habits, what are their pain points, and then you can tailor all your offerings to that customer.
So all of these systems, they're basically helping with their communication, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
data flow, making sure everybody's kind of on the same page. But, technology
Right.
can't be the only part of the puzzle.
Right.
Right. The article also talks a lot about these strong relationships.
Right. So technology can definitely get you pretty far.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you need to have trust and transparency with your suppliers and your customers.
Yeah, for sure.
It should feel like a partnership and not just a transaction.
Right. So like a supplier who's going to alert you to a potential delay
Exactly.
before it turns into like a 5-alarm fire.
Yeah.
Or a customer who's going to give you some actually really valuable feedback
Yeah.
that can help you make your products even better.
Exactly. That kind of open communication and support is just priceless.
Totally agree.
It's all about building this network of collaborators who are truly invested in each other's success.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So the next strategy the article dives into is data analytics,
Yes.
which seems to be like the hot topic
It's everywhere.
everywhere these days.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
It's like having a detective
Okay.
on your team that can go through all your data and find these hidden patterns and insights in your
Right.
supply chain. Imagine being able to really pinpoint where those bottlenecks are, optimize your inventory levels, and even predict what that future demand's going to be.
So moving beyond just like a gut feeling and actually using hard data to make smart decisions.
Yeah.
But how does that actually work? I mean, how can somebody use data analytics to improve their supply chain?
So let's say you're working in the retail industry.
Okay, retail.
You could look at past sales and seasonal trends and even what's going on social media
Okay.
and get a really good sense of what the demand is going to be
Yeah.
for upcoming product lines. So then you can adjust your purchasing and make sure you have just the right amount of inventory on hand.
So you're not overstocked, you're not understocked.
Yeah,
You've got just the right amount.
exactly.
That's a really great example. It sounds like data analytics can have a huge impact on efficiency
It can.
and saving money.
Yeah.
Finally, the article goes into the importance of agile practices.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean?
So in a supply chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the context of supply chain integration.
So being agile means being really nimble
Oh, I do.
and responsive to change. So in the kind of market we have today, you need to be able to pivot really quickly,
Yeah, things change all the time.
all the time.
So like imagine there's a sudden shift in customer demand, or there's like a massive disruption in your supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Agile practices would let you adapt without missing a beat.
Right. It's like a well-trained athlete. They can respond to all kinds of challenges,
Right.
and they're not going to sacrifice efficiency or customer satisfaction along the way.
Okay, so we just ran through a bunch of key strategies to actually make that supply chain integration happen.
Yeah.
But what's the payoff? What are the real benefits that businesses can expect to see from all this?
Yeah, good question. Well, the Procure for Marketing article actually highlights a bunch of really cool benefits.
Yeah, it does.
One that comes to mind right away is increased innovation.
Innovation.
Yeah. When you've got your suppliers and manufacturers
Right.
and even your customers all working together,
Yeah.
you create this space where all these new ideas can just kind of
Okay.
flourish.
I like that.
Like imagine you've got this clothing retailer working directly with their fabric suppliers
Yeah.
to come up with these innovative, sustainable materials.
Oh.
Or like a tech company that's working with the people who make all the parts for their devices
Right.
to come up with something totally groundbreaking.
So it's not just about making things like smoother.
Right.
It's about tapping into all that knowledge.
Yeah.
And that creativity that's out there.
Exactly. And that can lead to like a major competitive advantage.
A competitive advantage.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the article also mentions enhanced resilience as a key benefit.
Resilience, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen how fragile these global supply chains can be, especially these days.
Yeah.
How does integration actually help with that?
Think of it like a spider web,
Okay.
all flexible and interconnected. If one of those strands breaks, the whole thing can kind of absorb that stress and still keep its shape.
So having real-time data being shared lets businesses anticipate
Exact problems.
and they can adjust quickly.
And they've already got those backup plans.
So it's like having a plan B.
Right.
Or even a plan C ready to go if things go sideways.
Exactly. And being prepared like that makes a huge difference these days.
For sure.
Now, the next benefit is one that's super relevant today: sustainable practices.
Yes, sustainability.
Yeah.
You know, the article really suggests that integration can actually contribute to a greener,
It can't.
more environmentally responsible supply chain.
For sure.
I'm all about that.
By optimizing your resources and minimizing waste and promoting ethical sourcing,
Okay.
businesses can actually reduce their impact on the environment
That's amazing.
while also making things more efficient and profitable.
So a company could work with their logistics providers to optimize those delivery routes
Exactly.
and cut back on fuel consumption and emissions.
Right.
Or they could work with suppliers who use recycled materials
Yeah,
and do things in a sustainable way.
absolutely. It's a win-win all around. You get a healthier planet and a healthier bottom line.
Couldn't agree more with that one. And all of these benefits that we've talked about, the innovation, the resilience, that sustainability,
Yeah.
all contribute to that competitive edge.
Exactly. When your supply chain is working really well, it just sets you apart.
Yeah.
You can deliver those products faster, cheaper, better,
Right.
higher quality, more
And
customized.
your customers are happier.
Ex-
Okay, so we've talked about all these amazing things
Right.
that can come from integrating your suppliers and customers. But let's be realistic.
Yeah,
The article also mentions that there are challenges.
of course.
Yeah.
There's always going to be hurdles, but knowing what those are,
Right.
that's the first step.
Right. So data security. That's the big one that comes to mind right away. I mean, with all of this sharing going on
Yeah, that's a big one.
between all these different companies,
Yeah.
it seems like that's kind of a recipe for disaster.
It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
Businesses are sharing some seriously sensitive information with their partners.
Right.
So you've got financial data, customer details, even those secret processes.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure your security is strong.
What are some of the best ways to protect that data?
Well, it starts with good encryption.
Okay.
to protect that data when it's moving around and also when it's just sitting there.
Gotcha.
You also need to have those strict access controls. So only the right people can see and change that sensitive information. And then just make sure you're doing those security audits regularly
Okay.
to see if there are any weak spots.
So it's kind of like this multi-layered
It is.
approach.
And it's not just about the technology, it's about creating this culture where everybody knows how important it is
Right.
to protect that information.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Another challenge the article mentions is integration complexity.
Yeah.
I mean, connecting all these different systems and processes
Right.
from all these companies, it just sounds like a nightmare.
It definitely can be if you try to do too much too fast. You need to have a phased approach.
Okay.
So start by figuring out where integration is going to make the biggest difference.
Right.
Maybe focus on connecting your inventory system with your main suppliers first.
Okay. So start small.
Yeah, and then you can gradually add more as you go.
Gotcha. So it's like a step-by-step approach.
Yeah.
Get the easy stuff out of the way first,
Mm.
and then build from there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And having the right tech partners can really help smooth out that process. Look for people who specialize in this kind of thing
Okay.
and have worked with businesses like yours before.
The article also mentions something that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Cultural differences.
Yeah.
I mean, different companies have different ways of doing things.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just natural.
And those differences can lead to some serious problems if you don't address them. So open communication is key. Mutual respect, being willing to compromise, all of that is super important.
So basically building those relationships
That all goes back to that.
on trust and transparency
Yeah,
is essential, not just for collaboration,
right.
but also for just figuring out how to work together
Yeah.
when everybody's got a different way of doing things.
And don't forget, those differences can actually make you stronger.
That's true.
Different points of view can lead to more creative solutions.
Right. I like that. So it's about finding that sweet spot,
Right.
embracing that diversity,
Yeah.
and then using it to benefit everyone.
Exactly. Finally, the article talks about scalability.
Scalability.
That's something you really need to think about,
Yeah.
especially if your business is growing.
Right. You don't want to be stuck with a system
Yeah.
that you outgrow.
Exactly. So look for cloud-based solutions that can grow with you.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
The what, the why, the how of supply chain integration. We talked about the good stuff, the benefits,
Right.
and some of the challenges.
Right.
What's the one thing you really want our listeners to remember?
It's really about connecting all of this to what you actually need.
Right, because it's not like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Not at all. So think about your business. Where are things not running as smoothly as they could be?
Okay.
Are you having trouble keeping track of your inventory?
Okay.
Is it hard to communicate with your suppliers?
Yeah.
Are your customers asking for faster deliveries or more personalized stuff?
Right.
Those are all areas where getting everybody on the same page could make a big difference.
So it's about taking a step back,
Yeah.
looking at what's going on in your specific situation,
Yeah,
and figuring out where integration makes the most sense.
exactly. And once you've got a good sense of that,
Yeah.
you can start making a plan. Set some realistic goals.
Okay.
And start putting some of these strategies into action.
It can seem like a lot,
It can.
but even small changes can add up over time.
Absolutely. So maybe you start with a new inventory system
Okay.
that lets you share real-time data with your suppliers. Or you focus on getting closer to your customers,
Okay.
really listen to their feedback,
Right.
and then use that to improve what you're offering.
Makes sense.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. There are people out there
Right.
who do this stuff for a living.
Consultant.
Consultants, tech providers.
Like people who know the ins and outs
Exactly.
of all this. This has been a really interesting deep dive.
It has.
We've learned a lot about supply chain integration
Yeah.
and why it's so important for businesses.
It's not just a buzzword.
No. It's
Yeah.
like if you want to succeed in today's world,
Yeah. You got to be
you
connected.
got to be connected.
And it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's not like you reach the finish line and you're done.
Right. Everything's always changing.
Exactly. So you've got to be willing to learn and adapt.
Right.
Just embrace the challenge and stay curious. You'll be amazed by what you can achieve.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us as we explore the world of supply chain integration. We hope you learned something new today
We hope so.
and that you're feeling inspired to take your own supply chain to that next level.
To the next level.
Until next time, keep learning, keep innovating, and keep pushing the boundaries
Keep pushing.
of what's possible.